Thank you, Professor Udayana Sahusa, and good morning to all of the delegates and finalists on decks and off decks inside the country and abroad. Basically, that I am going to present the relevance of Mahabharata in contemporary political thought. Look, Mahabharata we have the different sects and the versions of the Mahabharata contemporary. Be it Sarla Mahabharata, origin texts of the Vyasa, Mahabharata in Japan, Indonesia, China. But I don't make it in a very universal approach or make it in a generalized approach. But as a political thinker, as a social political scientist, I just make it very cautiously from this theoretical point of view and how it has the relevance in contemporary politics. So in hermeneutics and contextually, the Mahabharata has the predominance relevance in literature, economic, decisions making, political thought, women empowerment, and most importantly in the conception of power. And I just try to determine that the two get debate. There is endeavor to debate over the concept of Mahabharata, myth or reality, the theology, the philosophy, or we treat as a beyond that, or theory or the thought. Second thing, I just narrates from all these concepts and the theory or thought from the two sides, that is the role of Krishna as well as the 12 chapters of Mahabharata out of 18, that is Shanti Parva. So what are the political values, conception of power, ideas of institutional thoughts, ethics and civility, socio-economic values, and a decision-making theory in international relations, and what are these? Next, very important, what is the discourse over the significance of the critical political thought? Are determined ideas from the Mahabharata legitimized over the Western political thought? Yes or no? How far school of the Indian political thought has provided the base to these narratives in research works, especially in the social sciences, from the Shanti Parva and the role of Krishna. Now start. So it is masterminded by the political visionary like Krishna. In Mahabharata, it performs as a dramatic hero, the plan maker, best archers, the best charioteer, and during the war between Pandavas and Kauravas. Sometimes if I narrate the Sankuni's roles inside of other sides, then the Kaurava is the philosopher who envies the cosmic orders and reality, where the individual and the clan groups and the chief citizens of the kings have their operational liberty, how it is achieved there like the Krishna. Just I want to narrate this thing, that perhaps this all this origins of Mahabharata since belongs to, that is 8th to 9th century started and final set in Gupta period, if I am not wrong, that is 4th century CE. Then we have determined the leadership of the Krishna, the role, his thinking, his skill during war or outside of war, and his morales, his decision-making power. Does not it mean that his charismatic leadership? But today we are relevantly look, or we are studying that leadership of charismatic leadership of Weberian's concept, or you can say the John Morris, the modern traditions is saintly, or the leadership from the Ramchandra Guha. So we'll make a debate on that. And if you go to this, the Sankuni's role, that Krishna and the Sankunis ultimately turn out to be a decisions maker in the Mahabharata, and formidable the constructual synergy, the exercising of cohesive power, and the Krishnas can be analyzed with the post-monistic theory of power. I think this terminology seeks to be more odd for the some for the non-social science background, but it is fact that the modern concept of power, we are much aware about that, the balancing of power in international relations theory is a part of realistic or the neorealism. So beyond that, we have also developed, does not mean there is a tolerance of that particular time. On the other hand, the strategic, the tactic, the pesa, the dice game used by the Sankunis is nothing. But in that time, I can say this is the game theory of the present and the contemporary political, I think, international relations and decisions making theory. So this is moreover, and both of them, they try to use, and they have initially instinct of the beyond power from a radical view, that is the Lucas, the radical views of power, that is decisions making, non-decisions making, and ideological. In Shanti Parva and in Mahabharata theorist, the Pitamaha Bhisma. Bhisma discourses authoritically explorations of the Raja Dharma, Dandaniti, and the Sasan Paddhati, and the origin of state. I just narrate the origin of state theory has been applications of the social contract theory like the classical liberalists, that is the Hobbes and John Locke. And the king has the sovereign power, but not the absolute liberty and not in interest of own profit and properties. If you see the Hobbesian theory of whole Leviathan regarding the social contract theory, he tried to narrate that the king has the absolute sovereign power, and in that particular contract, social contract, we cannot go against this king. But something liberal that earlier mentions in that Mahabharata, particularly in Shanti Parva, that liberty and it is not interest for his own profit and the properties. Now, the prevail, the golden of happiness. When you're talking about the happiness, is one of the major issues today, happiness and tolerance. When the people led happy and the peaceful life, this happy life was distributed with a much better describes in the utilitarian theory of Bentham. If you say the 15th, 16th century AD, the utilitarian theory of Bentham pursued same thing that earlier that was narrated in Shanti Parva. The necessary uphold the dharma, protections, properties, the key and defense work, administrations, formulations, policies, promotions, the welfare policies, most importantly, I repeat the welfare policy and forecasting the happiness of the people with the 5 sphere of activities, they are good king according to the Shanti Parva. Now look at the perspectives from the democracy, the modern democracy system and the government's form. In the Shanti Parva, there was a gathering of the common people called the parliament in Shanti Parva at Jan Sadan. And the Lakshavi, the Vaisali, Malaka, Madak, Kamboj, they are the exemplary of the democratic systems of that era. Vaisali's first king, the Vishal, was elected to be the democratic in the form of election. That is very modernity. The Ayodhya Republic, where the king makes the decisions and the seconds is had a certain king with combinations of king, the ministers, other officials, like the modern democratic decentralized system. We have different sets of officials and also the cabinets and that is minister. And the role of Ratpurohits or says a flawless dharma floors and guide the king. The Mahabharata stand prevails revolt against the tyranny, injustice and inequality. I repeat that word, the tyranny, injustice and the inequality. The modern justice system, that is Dandaniti. The Dandaniti means the science of concurrence with every evils of the sound, destroy the darkness. For Bhishma, there are 4 ends of life, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, like the human justice, duties, truth, properties and with moralities. All religions exercise is dharma is, and it is the law, that is the rule of law. During emergency, the king should take the confidence and impose on extra tax. That is very, I think, proceeding in the modern democracy system also during emergency, what we have in Indian democracy systems. For the sake of the saving life, it is right to make the treaty within a enemy. That is the warfare and strategics in international relations theory endorsed to arguments for the vested institution community in the warfare and the king and the governance. So, this is the important thing that modern justice system, and back to this, that the prevail of the golden age. I have narrated all these things in domain of the contemporary political thought. I'm sure that, just 1 second. So basic question is that what the paper cited about regarding the relevance of political ideas, thoughts from the different angle, like the Krishna Sankuni's role of Krishna Sankuni's and Shanti's purpose. Especially, I can narrate the Western political thought and comparatively Western political thought, and they are in the very edge in power, game theory, tolerance, traditions, new idealistic approach. But many questions in my mind in this cross conceptually, why the Western political scientists or philosophers, they are not recognizing, still they are not recognizing or have not been recognizing the superiority of Mahabharata and political theory beyond a theory. Or what is the fault of our Indian school of political tradition? Or why our scholar, or like me or like other political scientists, why we are not going to interest to find out the realities? And why, if with the theology you can say, if they're talking about the Platonian state, Aristotle's state, or even if the Prince or Leviathan, there must be some part of theology. There must be something of the mythology. But they have narrated, they have tried to accelerate the idea as a research scholar, as a reference books or for the research. But why we have deprived of in that particular SNL? I again back to my first question that I have put, that is the whether it is a myth or a reality, the theology or a philosophy, beyond theology and the thought. I can not completely come to the concrete conclusion, but I can say one thing. Yes, of course, the Mahabharata, different sets of Mahabharata, especially the role of Krishna and the Shanti Parva, has the relevance of the contemporary political thought and the theory domain, and we have to develop. And when there is a failure, perhaps we have to find out the responsibility. Thank you so much.